Hello, everyone. Today we have the third lecture from our partners, STEKOM University. Let me present our colleague, Mr. Migunani, the head of Information System Department, and today's topic is Unified Modeling Language. Mr. Migunani, if you are ready, you could start.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dnipro. Good afternoon for all audience, and greeting to our participants and also the honorable all students and all audience. I'm Migunani. Now I'm a head of information systems STEKOM University. My first take this occasion to pay tribute to all of the audience on this visiting lecture event with the title Unified Modeling Language. I am very happy I can open today my presentation in front of all of you. In the next, I will explain about topic of unified modeling language. Okay, I will share my presentation. Okay, my presentation can you hear?
Mr. Migunani, your voice is too low. Can you be more louder, please?
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
It's not
that's great.
loud. Good. Okay. Okay, thank you. Now I will explain about the topic unified modeling language. This is a topic in software engineering to visualizing object, to visualization of process, or visualization of architecture of the software. Okay, the UML is a unified modeling language. This is a language for specifying, visualizing, constructing, documenting to artifact of software systems, as well as of for business modeling and other non-software systems. But this UML is currently used to software modeling or business modeling system. The UML was adopted in 1997 is a standard by the OMG. OMG is Object Management Group, an industrial standard, and has continued to be refined in new OMG UML version. And now UML version is 2.0. The UML has emerged as the de facto and de jure standard diagramming notation for object-oriented modeling. This is the UML diagram, and the part of the UML diagram is two parts, behavior diagram and structure diagram. The first one, behavior diagram, contain use case, activity, state chart, sequence, collaboration diagram. And the structure diagram consists static structure, package, component, and deployment. This is a UML diagram to visualize software engineering and model process of the software engineering. What is a visual modeling? Visual modeling is the process of obtaining information from a model and displaying it using a standard set of graphic elements. Standards are very important for realizing visual modeling. The advantages of standardization are the first one is building communication between system user, developer, analyst, tester, manager, and people involved in a software project. And the second one is standardization is the main goal of visual modeling. And the third one is because humans are visual creatures, humans are able to understand complex things better when they are shown visually, seeing them or seeing objects. In the graphical notation, visual modeling requires graphical notation that is used to represent or describe aspects of the system. There are three popular types of notation. The first one is Butch notation. The second one is object modeling technology or OMT notation. And the third one is unified modeling language UML notation. UML notation is a standard that has been adopted by the majority of the software industry at now. This is a Butch notation. Butch notation, the name of the node of after creator, there is a Grady Butch. Grady Butch developed a graphical notation to display various aspects of a system model. Objects in a Butch notation are represented by clothes, illustrating that the fact that object can be anything like this. Butch notation also depicts a row to display the type of relationship between objects. For example, this is actor or actor customer. Actor customer can transfer funds, can view balance, can withdraw money, can deposit funds in the banking system model. And card reader, ATM screen, account, and cash dispenser, this is a class or object. Class and object visualized by like clothes because illustrating the fact that object can be anything. So visualize by cloth like here. And this is object management technology for second one. OMT or object management technology notation was created by Dr. James Rumbaugh. Rumbaugh has written several books on system analysis and design, like Rumbaugh books Object-Oriented Modeling and Design, Prentice Hall Aula. Rumbaugh explained the importance of demonstrating system component in the real world with a notation. OMT use a simpler graphs than boots to describe the system. In the boots, object represented by cloud, but in the object management technology or OMT, demonstrating or visualizing using a rectangle like here. Card reader, account, ATM screen, cash dispenser, visualize with a rectangle and three parts on the rectangle. Card reader is class, card number is attribute of class, and accept card, eject card, read card is operation or operation. Okay. In the third one, visualize of the object in the engineering model process is unified modeling language. Notasi UML is created by Grady Butch, collaborated with Jacobus Rumbaugh, Ivar Jacobson, Rebecca Wurzburg, Petrus Jordan, and et al. Ivar Jacobson is create a use case. This Ivar is creating use case in modeling language in a unified modeling language or UML. Ivar Jockelson has created object-oriented or OOC that focus to analyze of system. Butch, Rumbaugh, and Jacobson call three amigos. The three amigos is Butch, Rumbaugh, and Jacobson. Consolidation of UML began in 1993. Each of the three amigos, Rumbaugh, Jacobson, and Butch, include their own methodology ideas. Under of the technical leadership of the three amigos, a consortium called the UML Partner was organized in 1996 to complete the Unified Modeling Language specification and propose it to the Object Management Group, OMG, for standardization for visualizing object. In January 1997, the UML method was provided the Vendor Object Technology Group, or OTG, and software developer began to adopt and OTG released UML 1.1 as an industry standard. UML 2.0 major revision replaced version 1.5 in 2005. It was developed with an enlarged consortium to improve the language further to reflect new experience on usage of its feature. Second version of UML at 2.5, the UML specification has been simplified without superstructure and infrastructure. And the latest version of this standard are now UML specification 2.5.1 with OCL. OCL is Object Constraint Language with version 2.4. UML diagram consists 9 diagrams to visualize a system. UML provides the facility to create and develop several different model diagrams that describe aspects of the system. Rational row software support the majority of development for the following model. Number one is business use case diagram. Second one is use case diagram. Next, activity diagram, sequence diagram, collaboration diagram, class diagram, state chart diagram, component diagram, and deployment diagram. The first one is business use case diagram. Business use case diagram to describe the functionality of an organization as a whole. Business use cases are used during activity to model a business scope and define the context of a system, form the basis for making system use case diagram. An example of a business use case diagram in a financial institution is follow. This is a business use case diagram in the financial system or a banking model system. In a business use case diagram does not distinguish between manual process and automated processes. BUC or business use case diagram describe the interaction between business use case like a managed account, business actor like a customer, and business worker like a teller, credit manager, or investment manager. The business use case describes a business process like a managed account, managed credit account, loan money, and invest money. This is a business process. Business actor can be anyone or anything outside the scope of the system. Customer is a business actor, or other system is a business actor. Business worker are worker in a company system like a teller, credit manager, investment manager. Vera is a business worker. So, business worker initiate a business use case to business actor. For example, seller manage account for customer. Credit manager manage credit account for customer. Credit manager loan money for customer. Investment manager investment money. This is a sample for financial uh, business process in a banking model. In the second one is a system use case diagram. System use case diagram describe the interaction between use case and actor. Use case describe the capability or functionality of the system in more detail. The actor are the people who provide information or receive information from the system. Use case focus on automated process only. This is a different with a business use case diagram. Business use case diagram focus on two process, automated and manual or not automated process. A business use case diagram can have more than one use case diagram. One business use case diagram can have two, three, or five or more use case diagram. This is an example of the use case diagram. The diagram above illustrates the interaction of actor with use case. The actor is customer, and the use case is transfer funds, change pin, make payment, view balance, withdraw money, and deposit fund. An other actor is bank officer and credit system. Credit system is a system, but not people. So system in other system called actor. Customer credit system is actor. Customer perform use case activity, namely a withdrawing money. Customer can withdraw money. Customer can transfer fund. Customer can change PIN. In other activity, bank officer can change PIN. Customer make payment. In other activity, credit system uh, to make payment from customer. The customer execute the make payment use case, generating information for the credit system actor. In the third one is activity diagram. Activity diagram describe the flow of activity of a system. This diagram illustrates workflow when the process starts until the process ends. What activity occurs throughout the flow? In what process an activity occurs? An activity is a task performed by an actor throughout the workflow. This is a sample for activity diagram in the banking system for open account. The flow object is represented by a dotted arrow that shows the change in the state of the object. This is a dotted arrow from object to activity. This diagram consists of three columns. Every column is an actor, like a customer service representative in the first column, credit department manager in the second column, customer in the third column. And number two is activity from one process to another are represented by solid arrow that show transition between activity. This is an example, transition between Activity collect customer information to activity create new credit account. Use a solid arrow. And number three, the activity diagram is divided into several swim lanes. Column for this diagram called is swim lane. Swim lane is who are the actor involved, like customer service representative, credit department manager, and customer. And each swim lane has a different role. Customer service representative have has a role, credit department manager has a role, and customer has a role. And number four, in one swim lane, one can see the response between the role of one actor and another. You can see this is a transition from object to activity. Object on the customer service representative after create new credit account, transition to credit set credit limit in the swim lane credit department manager. Okay. And number five is transition symbol indicate who requires communication with who. You like you can view this. Who is a customer service, communication with credit department manager in the here, and credit department manager, communication with customer in the here. Okay. Can I explain flow or workflow for the activity diagram in a banking system for open account? Activity diagram start from customer service representative. They collect customer information and create new credit account. After collect customer information and after create credit account initializing. This account is a class and initializing is state of the class. So create new credit account, create a class with state of initializing. And after account initializing transition to credit department manager. Credit department manager check customer credit history and then set credit limit. If credit limit doesn't meet criteria, they review credit history. If it doesn't meet criteria, reject account. And account state is denied. If review credit history meet criteria, approve account activity of a credit department manager and account approve. After account approve, transition to customer swim lane. Accept credit terms and customer open account. Account for customer open by system and customer sign paperwork. This is an activity for open account in the system banking model using UML, using activity diagram. And the fourth one is sequence diagram. Sequence diagram are used to describe the flow of functionality from a use case. In the sequence diagram, there might be error in the flow of activity. For example, withdraw fund but insufficient balance or error entering PIN. If the process of withdrawing fund does not occur, an error can be described in a sequence diagram. So sequence diagram describe or visualize a model in diagram in the true condition or condition of success condition. This means that the sequence diagram is only used to describe the flow of the correct function or success condition. This is a sample for sequence diagram withdraw fund from ATM machine. Withdraw fund from ATM machine. Step of the fund withdrawal process consists seven 70 steps. Number one is a joy customer accept card to card reader. Card reader card reader read a card number for customer joy, and card reader initialize a screen to ATM screen. And the next step is open account to a joy's account. And the next is prompt of PIN to transaction, and customer joy enter a PIN, for example 1234, and ATM screen verify PIN to a joy's account, and the next ATM screen prompt form transaction to joy's customer. Joy select transaction withdraw, for example, and ATM screen prompt for amount. Joy enter amount 20, for example, $20. And the next is ATM screen withdraw fund 20 to Joy's account. Joy's account of verified fund if exists in a balance of Joy customer. And the next is deduct fund $20. And the next provide cash to customer to cash dispenser and provide receipt. In the end is eject card to card reader. Enjoy customer put the card reader from machine ATM. This is a sequence diagram for withdraw fund from ATM machine. Okay. In the next is a collaboration diagram. Collaboration diagram describing the relationship between actor and object that refer to a particular context, regardless or based on the time sequence. Similar with sequence diagram, but sequence diagram refer to or based on time sequence. Time is considered. Objects are represented by rectangular symbol, like in the right side image. This image same with the sequence diagram before, but we can look a different preview. This is not ordered like a sequence diagram. This is ordered. And the collaboration diagram is not ordered like here. Okay. J customer, number one, accept card to card reader read card number, card reader initialize screen to ATM screen. And the next for number 4 process is open account to Joy's account. And number 5 process a prompt for PIN for ATM screen to Joy customer. And the next enter PIN is after enter PIN is verified, ATM screen to Joy's account to verify PIN. And the next is prompt for transaction after PIN is inputting. And the next is select transaction, for example, withdraw. And the next prompt for amount, enter amount from Joy customer to ATM screen with $20. And the next is withdraw fund. Verify fund, deduct fund in Joy's account, and provide cash $20 and provide receipt to cash dispenser for Joy customer. In the next is class diagram. Class is a blueprint or reference to an object. Class diagrams show interaction between classes or class. A class contains information and behavior that apply to the class. For example, account class has attribute, account number, PIN, and balance. And operation class is withdraw fund. Like here, this is account. Account is a class. Account number, PINs, and balance is attribute for account class. And open, withdraw fund, deduct fund, verify fund is operation for the class. In the ATM screen, we can view attribute like this. This is not have a attribute for ATM screen, but ATM screen using a prompt or accept input only for operation to ATM screen. Cash dispenser consists of one attribute, this is like cash balance, and two operation, provide cash and provide receipt to customer. And card reader, this is a card number. Card reader can accept card, can eject card, and can read card for ATM user. Okay, the next is set chart diagram. Set chart is created if the class is a very complex. This means that when an object is a several states or different states and acts in a different way in each stage. The process that occurs between states is called an action. State charts are used to documenting the behavior of an object. This is, for example, state in the account. Account can open state, account can overdrawn state, and account can closed state. State open or on account can close because customer requires closure. Okay, transition in state chart diagram by open to close. And state open can transition to overdrawn if withdrawal and balance under zero or balance is zero. So overdrawn. If overdrawn, do send notice to customer to deposit. Overdrawn to open if deposit with balance is under zero. And the next is overdrawn to close. State of overdrawn to close if check balance where balance under zero for over 30 days. If balance under zero for 30 days. Okay, and the next is a component diagram. Component diagram shows the physical description of the system model as well as software component in the system and the relationship between these components. There are two types of component on a component diagram. The first one is executable component. This is a part that can be executed. And second component is code library. This is a part of program library. In rational rows, each class in the model is mapped to a component in the source code. This is an example ATM skin component diagram. Consists of two diagrams. In the first diagram is ATM. Consists of ATM machine component. This is a file, executable file. Executable file can use a card reader library. Card reader library have a card reader source code program. ATM screen has a ATM screen source code program, and cash dispenser has a cash dispenser source code program. A row from one component to other component is a dependencies association or dependencies relation. ATM XA dependent to card reader, ATM XA dependent to cash dispenser, and card reader dependent to ATM screen because card reader read after read in the card reader, ATM screen can show what transaction can be used to user or consumer. In the second one is a diagram that ATM server XA. ATM server XA, this is application root in the root application, in the root organization, use account from a user in the banking model, and account consists a source code of account. And relation like this, ATM server dependent to account, and account dependent, source code account dependent to account. And the next is deployment diagram. This is the end of a deployment diagram in UML, Unified Modeling Language. Deployment diagrams show the layout of the network or layout of equipment or device where the components are located. For example, the ATM system consists of several subsystems that run a separate physical devices. Deployment diagram is described as follows for ATM banking model. This is a regional ATM server, consists of ATM server XA. This is an application. And two ATM machine in the First Street ATM, 125, and Elm Street ATM. This is two sample of the ATM in the street or in the building in two example. This example using ATM client XA to connect to ATM server XA like this, and using the private network and regional ATM server connect to banking database server. In the banking database server using Oracle server, this application for database management system, and connect with local area network. Because regional ATM server and banking database server in one building. So connection with a local area network. And regional ATM server using a one printer to printing output or report for a transaction. For example, this is a connect with LAN, yeah, for share printer or connecting with a cable printer. Okay, for example, for design report using a unified modeling language. This example is a resource management software. Resource management software. Primary goal of this project is to develop resource allocation management software to its scheduling of personnel, equipment, and office space across various projects for multiple clients. The first step taken was to identify all the tasks of user might ask the system to perform. Use case. Use case is a narrative which describes the interaction between the system and user were written. Second, by looking at the noun in the use case, it was possible to pick out of the number of classes. The number of classes, the next, we will create a class diagram. in UML, like a class diagram below for a possible implementation. This information is combined to form a conceptual model which show the major classes and their attributes. And then three, after the conceptual model was complete, high-level sequence diagram which visually depict how the classes interact were constructed. A sequence diagram was created for each use case. And number four, the last step in the design process was to build a complete class diagram. The class diagram lists all the class that will be implemented in the software system, along with their attributes and methods. It also shows the relationship that exists between the class with other class. In parallel with the development above, a specification document was drafted. The specification document was constructed to provide a textual description of the future of the system and a general overview of the system implementation. The information covered in the specification document include the data to be stored in the database, the graphical user interface element, and the general operation of the client and server software. The specification document was read and approved by our client and will act as a contract regarding operation of the software. Additionally, design work on the graphical user interface was complete. Layout of a major window and dialog box was complete. And finally, a glossary of terms was built as the design proceed, ensuring that the member of the design team as well as our client share and agree upon a vocabulary. This is example for use case narrative. The use case narrative describes the sequence of events an actor or user perform to complete task. Use case name is select item. Purpose for use case name. The purpose of this use case is to allow the user to select an item, such as client, project, resource allocation, time slot, consultant, machine, or tool. This use case will be needed as a predecessor to most of the modify and delete use case. So this use case is the first time to create a process to perform complete a task in select item. And this overview, any user will be able to perform this use case. Any user will be able to perform. The use case begin when the user select an item from the list of the items that the guide display. After selecting an item, the system will verify that the item still exists. If this verification fails, the user display will be updated. And the next use case narrative is a typical course of event. Typical course of event consists two action from actor action and system response from actor. The first one, actor action is use case begin when a user selects an item shown in the display. And then system response, the system verifies that the item still exists. The next, system response retrieves information about the selected item. Some information deemed confidential will be unavailable based on the type of user. And system response next is the system will determine whether or not the user has permission to modify the selected item. And the next, for 5 steps, the system will display the information in a read-only mode. The modify button will optionally be displayed. If project was selected, the generate project view graph use case will be initiated by the system. Otherwise, the use case ends. If any alternate course for the typical course of event can explain in the next row. This is alternate code for line 2. Line 2 is the system verified that the item still exists. If not exists, the item no longer exists. The display is refreshed. And the information panel located at the lower right of the display will be clear. This use case ends. And alternate code for step 5. Step 5 for system response. The system will display the information in read-only mode. The modify button will optionally be displayed. If not, the system is unable to access the database. The system display an error message and the use case ends. This is a use case narrative for visualizing model process in the use case diagram for the next. And example is second example, add client. The use case name is add client. Purpose for use case. The purpose of this use case is to add a new client to the system. Overview. The admin level user needs to add another client to the system because the client has not done business with the consulting company before and need to open a new account in order to begin utilizing the consulting company's service. The information that need to be entered about the new client consists of the name of the client company, the name of the company managing principal, the name of the company business development executive, and the status of whether or not the client has signed the consulting service agreement or CSR. The admin level user will choose the menu item for adding a client. The system will verify the user actually has permission to perform this action. The system will display a dialog box that allows the user to enter needed information. And typical course of add client for after action, the first one is the use case begin when the user choose the add client. And then system response, the system checks the user is allowed to perform this operation. And the next system response, the system display a dialog box that allow the user to enter the information about the client. After system response, after action, next for action to the system. User provide the information and presses submit. After presses submit, system response, the system will determine whether or not the user has permission to modify the selected item. Program check to make sure the client name entered does not already exist in the system, and the system store the data in the database. And the system close the dialog box, display a message to indicate that the operation was successful and the use case will be end. Alternative code for the system response. This is consists 5 alternate code if fail for the system response. Line 2, the system checks the user is allowed to perform this operation. And if this action is failed, the response is failed, user does not have permission to add a client, and error message is displayed in the use case end. And line 4, the system will determine whether or not the user has permission to modify the selected item. User press cancel instead of submit. And the dialog box closes and the use case ends. And the line 5 is program checks to make sure the client name entered does not already exist. If the name already exists for another client in the system, an error message is displayed, but the dialog box remains open. Return to a line 4 and typical course of event. And line 6, The system is unable to access the database. The system displays an error message and the use case. And, and for example, for modify client, business use case narrative, delete client, business use case narrative can create in here for using this template. Create in here for add results, modify results, delete results, and add project, modify project, delete project using this template. In the second one is use case diagram. Use case diagram are constructed after all the use cases were identified and written. Several purposes of the use case diagram allow all the use case to be viewed at a glance, make it easy to identify the external actor or user and how they use the system, so which actor can participate in each use case. In the system being designed, there are three different actors. Each actor corresponds to a different access level in the system. For user, only admin users are allowed to participate in all use cases. The other two user types are limited in they can do for a security reason. Three different use case diagrams were constructed to clearly show the difference between the access level. This is an example for use case diagram showing your use case only available to admin user. Actor is admin user, and admin user can modify client, can delete client, can add resource allocation, delete resource allocation, and all for this use case. This use case diagram shows available to admin user and project lead user, not for admin user only, both admin user and project user. So the actor consists two in this diagram, project lead user and admin user. Admin user can add time slot, can delete time slot, can modify time slot, and generate conflict report. However, project lead user can do for this action in admin user action. Add time slot, delete time slot, modify time slot, and generate conflict report. And the next activity is use case for to all users. Admin user, project lead user, and view only user. Admin user can start GUI. GUI is graphical user interface. This is a user interface for application in a computer. Admin user can select item and extend display project view graph. This is a extend relationship for use case to use case. Actor to use case is association relationship. And the next is admin user can change password and admin user can subscribe.
Permisi Pak Migun.
Iya.
Ini waktunya tinggal 10 menit lagi ya, soalnya rektorat tutup jam 3, Pak.
Oh gitu ya. Oke.
Iya,
10 menit
makasih
ya.
Pak.
Ya. Oke, terima kasih. Saya lanjutkan tadi. Oke, to all users. Okay. The next is a conceptual model. Conceptual model focus on identifying the domain element on their attribute on the result method or operation. The conceptual model below define many entity classes. Entity classes are data-rich classes that usually represent real objects in the problem domain. These entity classes will also be the ones stored in the database. Some entity classes listed in the conceptual model below include client, project, resource, and resource allocation. Some service classes such as password authorizer and logs are also identified in the conceptual model. The conceptual model lacks detailed description of important classes related to the graphical user interface and database. This is a conceptual model for the system. This picture created with a class diagram. This is first class diagram, not finished class diagram, to preview of the conceptual model of the system. This diagram consists of class user, graph, resource, subscope page, office, resource allocation, and goal. And the class diagram can relate with other class if use solid arrow and not solid arrow like this. The number relation for one class to other class, this is 1 and 0, 1. For example, the log is a 1, and user minimal 0 or maximal 1 user. And one resource relates in one log. Relate in one log. This is example for a conceptual model. Okay, the next is sequence diagram. Sequence diagram illustrates the user interaction with the system, and the system operation is the diagram. The flow of order operation require the complete task. They are especially useful for determining what methods are needed in class. Sequence diagram come in two forms: high-level sequence diagram and low-level sequence diagram. This is an example to sequence diagram add client to use case. Admin user can add client in this. Yeah. So we create a sequence diagram. This is our object. Is guy, client manager, new client, database. This is the object. Admin user is actor. And this is a sequence diagram, step by step workflow for sequence diagram at client use case, for example. And this is an example diagram to modify client use case. Okay. And this is, for example, sequence diagram for delete client use case. If no project assigned to client. And this is a sequence diagram for delete client use case. If some project assigned to client. In the next is class and package diagram. Package diagram, after creating all the sequence diagram, a complete list of classes must develop. This class will group into 4 packages. The view package contain all the class or deal with the GUI, including dialog box, form, and graph classes. The controller package contain classes that manipulate data and provide communication between the server and the client. Of the manager classes are in this package. The database package contain all the classes that directly access the database. The entity package contain of the data-rich classes that are stored in a database. These classes include client, resource, and project, like here. This is a package diagram. View package, control package, entity package, and database package. And relation about a package, view and control is a dependency relation. View and entity is dependency relation. So view dependent to entity, view dependent to controller, controller dependent to database, database dependent to entity, and controller dependent to entity. And the next is class a package. Yes, class diagram. And class diagram show all the classes in the system. Class diagram are structured like conceptual model. I was explained before. This is an example of the class diagram of entity package. This diagram create with UML or Unified Modeling Language. And the next is class diagram for database package. And the next is dia class diagram to entity package. So consists three diagram, class, for package. And the next C is class description. The class description do a good job providing the detail necessary to implement a class. However, it is difficult to look at the class diagram and determine just how particular class fits into overall design. Thus, class descriptions are written to provide a text-based narrative of what the classes can do and how they will be used in the design. Below are description for all the important classes in design. The first one is user, an entity class that will contain a username, password, and full name for all users who can access data using the client program. The user class will also hold the access level, which will determine what manager function they can call. And the two entity is entity object. This is an abstract class that contains method and attribute common to all objects that will be stored in database. It is include a name attribute, a log, and an ID number. Methods to manipulate the log and name are provided. It serves as a base class for the class resource. And the next is a project, an entity class that will contain all the information needed to describe a project. Node, it is a container of resource allocation, which hold reference to all reference that can be used on a particular project and edge. And the N is system contract. System operation contract describe change in the state of the system when operation is performed. Contracts are normally written for each method or function present in a design. Contracts are declarative. They describe what will happen when a method is called, not how it will happen. This is an example for system contract for classes in entity package. This is for client. Get number of project, get signed CSR, get principal name, get business development name, set signed CSR, set principal name, set business dev name, and other. Okay, I will end for my presentation. Thank you. Miss Mr. Dimitri, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. As I can see, there are two questions for you, Mr. Migunani, in the chat box.
Okay, I will check in the text box for a question. Here, the first one question is, I have a question about how does the system check for permission for user? System check for user for permission for using the application, using a username and password. User credential like email, username, or PIN or password is credential to check for permission for user. So permission in the first action can use the system to user to enter the system. Okay, for fatally concur. Thank you. This is my answer. And the second question is, can we translate behavior part of use case into some class type use case classes, which we can use right in our application development? Okay, behavior or operation in the classes is a part of a use case. Uses consists of statement of functional of the system or functional of the business process. So noun in the statement or the sentences if in the use case or business use case is the classes. So class can be created depending from functional on sentence in the use case. If the sentence consists of 2, 3, or 5 nouns, so 2, 3, or 5 noun is a class. Can break down to 5 class. Okay, this is my answer for my Hilo Litinov. Thank you, Mr. Dimitri. And the next question is how difficult is it to automate the business model of interaction between client and manager? How difficult is it to automate the business model of interaction between client and manager? Okay. Client is an external actor and manager is business worker. And client relate or connect with organization or company, not to manager. Client connect with company with the sales person or marketing person, and so very difficult is client communication with manager because manager level for structure in the company is even high for staff in the under of manager. So client communication to staff, not for manager. So in the business process, role model for business process can create client to communication with staff, not the manager. Okay, this is my answer for this question. Okay, the next question is what program do you usually use to create UML diagram? Program to create unified modeling language consists 2 or 3 or 4 application or tool. I am use rational unified process UML free application can download in the internet and free you use to create a UML diagram. I'm use rational rows for create UML diagram, but now rational rows not develop again. The version of rational rows in 2022. So next develop I will using other application. Thank you. Okay, in this last question for Alexander Sarang. Thank you, Mr. Dnipro Melikov. If any question. Thank you.
It seems there are no any question here.
Okay.
Mr. Migunani, I would like to say thank you very much for your interesting, rich presentation, for your answers, for your comments, for our there is another question.
One question. Okay. Okay. Tell me, please, many modern technical system or people machine system work on the basics of complex functioning protocol. Can this approach to programming be considered at the highest level of the hierarchy? Is a programming language of functioning protocol, or more like a language of creating functioning protocol? Okay, thank you for a question. Modern technique for a system or people machine system work on the basis of the complex of functional protocol. You can use UML or Unified Modeling Language. In Unified Modeling Language, you can create diagram to a functioning protocol like a sequence diagram or collaboration diagram. You use for this diagram to create a step-by-step approach for a process workflow on the process from beginning to end, and detail to step-by-step for process. You can look in the sequence or collaboration diagram. So in the next, after modeling diagram create, in the 9 modeling diagram, business use case, system use case, activity diagram, sequence diagram, class diagram, component diagram, and deployment diagram. The next is creating a code or programming using language programming to create a function like a procedure function in the class. So in the programming in the UML for diagramming or modeling, you use language programming in the concept of object-oriented programming, because UML is object-oriented analysis and design. So you can use object-oriented programming to implement the model 9 diagram below to a programming language. But programming language support to object-oriented programming like PHP, Java, Perl, .NET, VB, ASP.NET, or C# and other language. Okay, thank you. Ms. Lubukina Tetiana. Thank you, Mr. Dnipro. That's my answer.
Let's wait for a minute, okay? I suppose it was the last question from our audience. So thank you very much for your presentation, answers, comments. I hope to see you within the next cycle of our virtual exchanges. And I would like to say thank you, my dear colleague, Novita. I'm grateful to all of you for arranging these online meetings. So have a nice day, dear colleagues, and thank you again.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you, Dimitri.
Goodbye, all of you.